Yes, Antoinette, you totally did. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 100 Club. Today is day one of our 12-month journey to taking y'all to net $100,000 in your real estate business. And when we say net 100,000, we're not talking about your gross commission income of 100,000. We're talking about $100,000 in your actual bank account at the end of the year, because we want to help you change your life. And we're going to start with a few stories this morning before we get into our content and before we get into setting the actual parameters for what it's going to look like for you to be able to close $100,000 in net income over the next 12 months. So I'm going to share my screen with you really quick, and here we go. Present. There we go. All right, so I want to share a story with you out of a book called No Limits. And this book right here was written by Dr. John Maxwell, but the story that I want to share with you in this book has nothing to do with John Maxwell himself. It's a story about Henry Ford. For those of you who have never heard of Ford, I'm surprised, because they're one of the great American automakers that were founded right here in the United States. And here's the story about Henry Ford. In the mid-1890s, Ford began building his first vehicle made with bicycle parts and a combustion engine. He worked on it in a shop behind the rental house where he and his wife lived. He believed that people's capacity for travel could be increased. Of course, he faced his share of doubters. People thought he couldn't do it. Others advised against it, because they believed there weren't enough roads built to accommodate a vehicle that powered itself. But Ford was undaunted. In 1896, Ford completed his project. He named his vehicle the quadricycle, and that's what's in the right-hand corner of your screen there. However, he'd made one small miscalculation. It was too big to fit through the doorway of his shop. So what did he do? He knocked the bricks out of the wall to get it out. He was not going to allow the door's lack of capacity to limit his capacity. Ford, of course, went on to found the Ford Motor Company in 1903. His belief in unlimited capacity helped him take car manufacturing from a slow, expensive, meticulous, hand-built process to a fast, efficient, automated process that put the automobile within reach of everyday people. By 1924, the company had produced 10 million cars. 3 years later, it had produced more than 15 million. Trying to build your life without removing your limitations and increasing your capacity is like building a car in a small shed and being unwilling to knock out the wall to get the car out on the road. All locked up, your capacity can't really go anywhere. Remove the limitations and the world is open to you. Now, I share that story with you today because it's all about mindset. What if Henry Ford had just looked at it and said, you know, gosh, for all those people out there who think that I shouldn't really be making this to begin with because there aren't enough roads and because, hey, you know, we've got horses that can get us from point A to point B. What if he had looked at that and said, you know, these bricks preventing me from taking this out of this shop here are the reason why I should just give up right now. Instead, he saw the future. He saw what could happen next, and he decided that he wanted to go forward with it and knock those bricks out of the wall and really, truly remove his capacity. That's what we're going to help you do over the next 12 months, is remove the capacity that maybe you've placed on yourself, maybe others have placed on you, maybe limiting beliefs that other people have placed on you. That's what we're going to do. The first portion of our class is going to be all about mindset in this group. Because in order for us to be able to net $100,000, we have to think like somebody who makes $100,000. I was reading a quote by a gentleman named Paul Martinelli the other day, and his quote said this: the only difference between a $75,000 income for somebody and a $200,000 income for someone is their mindset. You see, very rarely does somebody go from making $75,000 a year to then making $200,000 a year and then back to $75,000 a year. They don't do it. And the reason why is because they've tasted it. You know, I know a lot of you guys follow Dave Ramsey, and there's a story about Dave Ramsey right after the last crash of the economy happened in 2007 through 2009. And there was a gentleman who came into the Dave Ramsey studios and was standing in the lobby. And for those of you who ever want to go and visit Dave Ramsey, you can go and visit his studios there, and he comes out and greets people all the time. Well, this gentleman was standing there, and Dave could just tell that he had been having a really, really difficult time. And so Dave looks at him and says, "Hey, you know, what's going on?" And he says, "You know, I have a landscaping company and I just lost it all." And so he starts talking about the process of how he built his company. And Dave asked him, "You know, what were you making?" And this was a 27-year-old guy at that time. And he said to Dave, "Well, I was making $300,000. And Dave looked at him and said, "Look, you're 27 years old. You've been able to build that up to a $300,000 income business for yourself. You're going to be just fine. Do exactly what you did before. Change the way that you look at your expenses, of course, and you're going to be able to get to $300,000 again." And the reason why is because once you taste it, going backwards is never enough. So we're going to dig into setting your goals. And in setting your goals, it's going to be, I want you to look at this in a way that you've never looked at it before. So in a lot of classes that Gary teaches, he talks about, actually, let me take off my screen really quick, my background, so you can see my whiteboard. There we go. So in a lot of classes that Gary teaches, he'll draw a circle on here. And then he'll say, "This is your world," okay? And then he'll draw other circles within it. And when he says this is your world, he's talking about this is your business, okay? So he draws other circles in it, and you know, it kind of looks a little bit like a chocolate chip cookie here, and or a happy face. And then he looks at it and says, if this is your world, this is the world of the people who are in your company right now. This is the world of the people who've chosen to partner with you and be part of your business. And then he asks the question, is your world big enough to keep these people in it? Because growth is a natural thing. Like it's something we need to be doing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis. You see, once college is over, that's not the end of learning. That's really just the beginning of learning. And so we've got to make sure that we have a world big enough to support all of these people within here, because they're naturally going to be going this way and going this way and getting bigger and bigger. And that means that our world needs to be expanding and expanding and expanding, because we've got really talented people that we want to keep in it. Now, I want to look at this in a completely different way than we've ever looked at it before. When we're setting our goals, are we sitting down with our family and making sure that our goals are big enough for our families to accomplish the things that they want to accomplish? You see, this could be a huge opportunity to do something that, unfortunately, our education system really doesn't, which is teaching our kids and our spouses how to think differently about their life, how to accomplish things that they want to accomplish, how to set forth a path to success for the family. You see, you and I both know what it costs to live every single month. And if you don't, I want to encourage you to do that exercise and figure out exactly what your budget is. And I'll put some resources in our Facebook group so that you can go line by line on all of your expenses and figure out exactly what it costs to live. But Do we know the things that our children want to accomplish that year? Do we know the things that our spouse wants to accomplish that year? And are we accounting for what we need to allot inside of our business to help them accomplish their goals? You see, that goes back to this right here. It's all about having a vision big enough for everyone within it to be able to accomplish their vision as well. And that's how we do it within our family. We go back and we have the conversation. We can kind of run our family as a business as well, in making sure that everyone on our team, in our family, is able to accomplish their goals because we have made it clear that we understand what their goals are. And you see, there's this bold law called logic makes us think and emotion makes us act. Well, if we're going to get to the place where we're emotionally connected to what our goal is, a lot of times that's going to have a lot to do with our family. It's going to have a lot to do with charitable organizations that we're part of. It's going to have a lot to do with, just things that we want to see others accomplish. People naturally want to help other people. A very small percentage of the population it's all about me. Most of the time it's about others. And having a really powerful why helps you connect to the goal. You see, we could put a goal on paper that says, hey, 22 transactions. Is that powerful enough? No, not really. What should really happen is 22 transactions so I can, so we can, and we encompass the world of our family or the world of our business into it so that we know who we're serving and we know what's on the other side. Many people make the mistake of just putting that number on the paper and letting that be what it's going to be. Well, that's great. You have a path, but have you really discovered why it's important? And I'm going to share a video with you right now by Simon Sinek, who's going to explain the why and how we can articulate that. And you see, when we go back and we get clear on what it is that we want to accomplish this year and what our families want to accomplish this year, we can create a really, really powerful mission statement so that we can share that message with others and truly connect with them. So I'm going to share my screen again with you. And we're going to go over to this video by Simon Sinek.
There's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way, and it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done, that's how most sales is done, and that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do, we say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. What it proves to us is that people don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in this room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat-screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat-screen TVs. They've been making flat-screen monitors for years. Nobody bought one. And Dell came out with MP3 players and PDAs. And they make great quality products, and they can make perfectly well-designed products, and nobody bought one. In fact, talking about it now, we can't even imagine buying an MP3 player from Dell. Why would you buy an MP3 player from a computer company? But we do it every day. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Here's the best part. None of what I'm telling you is my opinion. It's all grounded in the tenets of biology, not psychology, biology. If you look at a cross-section of the human brain, looking from the top down, what you see is the human brain is actually broken into three major components that correlate perfectly with the golden circle. Our newest brain, our Homo sapien brain, our neocortex, corresponds with the what level. The neocortex is responsible for all of our rational and analytical thought and language. The middle two sections make up our limbic brains, and our limbic brains are responsible for all of our feelings, like trust and loyalty. It's also responsible for all human behavior, all decision-making, and it has no capacity for language. In other words, when we communicate from the outside in, yes, people can understand vast amounts of complicated information like features and benefits and facts and figures. It just doesn't drive behavior. When we communicate from the inside out, we're talking directly to the part of the brain that controls behavior, and then we allow people to rationalize it with the tangible things we say and do. This is where gut decisions come from. Sometimes you can give somebody all the facts and your figures, and they say, I know what all the facts and details say, but it just doesn't feel right. Why would we use that verb? It doesn't feel right, because the part of the brain that controls decision-making doesn't control language. And the best we can muster up is, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Or sometimes you say you're leading with your heart, or you're leading with your soul. Well, I hate to break it to you, those aren't other body parts controlling your behavior. It's all happening here in your limbic brain, the part of the brain that controls decision-making and not language.
Okay, so with that being said, and seeing what that looks like on the side of how we communicate with our clients to share what our vision is and the why, the how, and the what that we do, we've got to look at our businesses and we've got to look at our goals the exact same way. You see, it's really, really easy to know what you need to do and how you need to do it, and and why you're doing it. I mean, it's easy to look at it and go inward this way. But if we want to truly connect with even ourselves, we've got to start right here with the why, and then go to the how we're going to do it, and then go to the what we need to do right now. So this week, when you're meeting with your families, or when you're really digging into yourself, the why is going to be, here's what we're going to accomplish this year in 2020, in the next 12 months, sorry. And why it's important to you. I mean, maybe it could be you haven't taken a vacation in the last 10 years. Maybe you've never taken a vacation at all. Maybe it's you need to be able to buy reliable transportation. Maybe it's you've got elderly parents and you know that at some point in time you're going to have to take care of them. When you look at your goal, you go with the why, and then you go with the how you're going to do it, and then you go with the what you're going to do. So why? I need to take care of my elderly parents so that they have a comfortable place to live. How? Well, I'm going to be able to do it by doing these activities every single day. And here's what I need to do right now in order to make all of that happen. That's how we go with the logic makes you think, emotion makes you act. We go internal first, and then we see the external results when we get connected with the why. And you know, for some people, the why could be as simple as Maslow's hierarchy of needs, food, shelter, and security. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We want to support you in any way possible through this program here and through your local leadership in your market center, whether that's your productivity coach, your team leader, anybody that you need. I'll even give you my personal cell phone number if you need to reach out to me to work through some of these things. You're more than welcome to. So now that we know why, and I want you to work on that this week. You may not know the answer right this second. We're going to break it down to what actually needs to happen in order for you to achieve that goal. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again with you. And right here, this is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Economic Model. This comes directly from page 131 of the MREA. And it's a very, very easy thing to do. However, it would look like you should work from the top here all the way down. But we're not going to do that. The way that we're going to work it out is from the bottom to the top. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and get out your calculator, and you can go back and watch this later this week if you want to go through it. I've also posted the slide in our Facebook page so that you can come up with exactly what it needs to look like for you. But I'm going to walk you through this model right here. So in net income, we're going to put $100,000 because that's what the goal of this group is. And if you go back and you meet with your family and you determine, hey, you know, it really needs to be $150,000 in net income, that's okay. You're going to be able to do the math and work backwards either way. So you've got your $100,000 in net income. Now, keep in mind, we've always got to take into account taxes. So we're going to need to choose what our expenses are. So our expenses are going to be, let's say that it costs $500 a month for you to keep your license active and be in the real estate business. So 500 times 12, let's say that's a total of $6,000. And then you're split with your company. Let's just go on average and say it's $15,000. So 15,000 plus 6,000. So we're at 21,000. Then we're going to go with plus 120, we're 15 or 21,000 plus 100,000. That's going to give us a total of 121,000 times 0.3 for taxes. So taxes each year, you're looking at $36,300 plus your original $21,000 altogether for your expenses. That's going to put your expenses at $57,300. Okay. So now that you've got $100,000 for your net income, instead of subtracting right there, you're going to add. So you're going to have a total of $157,300 in total gross revenue income that you need. So for the sake of making this simple, we're going to say that 50% of your business is buyers and 50% is sellers. Okay? So if 50% is buyers and 50% is sellers, I'll go ahead and stop the share on my screen and I'm going to show it to you on my camera here. So if 50% is buyers and 50% is sellers right here, that's going to be 157,300 divided by 2. So that means 78,650 is going to be your gross revenue from buyers, and 78,650 is going to be your gross revenue from sellers, okay? So you can go ahead and write that number down. Okay, now where it says percent of commission, what is the commission percent on average that you get? So for this, we're going to go ahead and use 3%. So then you're going to take your 78,650, and instead of multiplying right here, we're going to divide. So 78,650 divided by 3%. It's going to give us $2,621,000 in closed volume that we would need to close to hit our goal on either side of these. So we're going to go ahead and round that up to 2,625,000. All right, so we've got that number right there. Now, what is your average sales price for your area? So here in the greater Fort Worth area, I'm going to say that that number is 250,000. So we're going to write the average sales price on both of these sides here of $250,000. All right, so we've got that right there. And now it says to add, to multiply again. We're actually going to divide. So we've got 2,625,000. And then we're going to divide that by 250,000. That's going to give us 10.5 buyers sold and 10.5 sellers sold on both of these sides here. I want you to round that up to 11 because you can't sell half a house. All right, so buyers sold 11, sellers sold 11. Now, where it says conversion rate, this is where it's going to be a little bit different here. So on a buyer conversion rate, we're just going to say that it's 75%, okay? So 75% for buyer conversion rate. And we'll just do the buyer side right now, and then we'll go on. So right here, it's 11 buyers sold, and it says right here, you're supposed to go times 75%. We're actually going to divide because we're going backwards. So 11 divided by 75%, that says 14.6. So we're going to round it up to 15 buyer listings taken. So that means representation agreements that you're going to get signed. On average, about 75% of those are going to turn into buyers sold. Then we've got one more thing up here. So the conversion rate from buyer listing appointments that you've gone on, we're going to say that's about 75% as well. So then you're going to do 15 divided by 75% again. Now you've got the number 20. So 20 is a round number. We don't have to round that up or anything. So we can just go with right here, 20 buyer listing appointments. So now we'll walk down this right here. So 20 buyer listing appointments at a 75% conversion rate would give us 15 buyer listings taken at a 75% conversion rate, would give us 11 buyers sold with an average sales price of $250,000, would give us buyer sold volume of $2,625,000 at a 3% commission is going to give you a gross commission income of $78,650. So we know that for you to accomplish your goal this year of $100,000 net income based upon the numbers that I have here, this is for Fort Worth, remember that. So your average sales price may change. These numbers may fluctuate a little bit. But for us to accomplish what we want to, if we have a 50% focus on buyers and a 50% focus on sellers, you're going to need to do 20 total listing appointments for buyers, meaning you meet with buyers and you do representation agreements and everything like that. You do your buyer presentation and you move them to the next step. All right, so let's go over here to sellers sold. So now we know that the average sales price is $250,000 Average sellers sold conversion rate. We're going to go with 80% on this one. So we're going to round it up a little bit. Okay. So 11 sellers sold divided by 80%. So 11 divided by 80%, that's going to be 13.75 seller listings taken. That means that's how many listings you have to take in order to close 11. So 13.75, once again, that's not a round number. So let's put that up to 14. Okay, and then a conversion rate. So let's go with 80% again here for your conversion rate for seller listings, because we all know right now, if you price a home appropriately, it's not going to sit on the market for a long time. So let's go right here with 80%. All right, so we've got 80% there, and we're going to divide that. Once again, it says multiply, but since we're going up, we're going to divide. So we got 80%, 14 divided by 80% is going to give us 17.5. So once again, can't still have a house. So we're going to round that up to 18. And now we know, here's your number. But if you're in the Fort Worth area, of course, if you're not in the Fort Worth area, you're going to change these numbers just a little bit. And if you have trouble with this, let us know. We can help you with it. Terrell can help you with it in Atlanta. I can help you with it here in our area. A productivity coach can help you with it. We all know page 131 of the MREA. It's the economic model. So here's what the goal is every single year. In order for us to have $100,000 in net income, we have to go on 18 seller listing appointments, meaning 18 actual listing appointments where somebody wants to list their home. If we have an 80% conversion rate, it's going to give us 14 seller listings. An 80% conversion rate from there is going to give us 11 sellers sold. So you will have sold 11 homes based upon going on 18 appointments, getting 14 listings. 11 of them will actually sell. The reality is if you price them right now, all 14 of them will actually sell. Okay, we want to price things right, and that'll be a whole different class a little bit later in the process. So 11 sellers sold, average sold price $250,000, gives us $2,625,000 in seller sold volume, times our 3% commission gives us $78,650. All right, and then we've got 20 buyer listing appointments that we go on, times our 75% conversion rate. Equals 15 buyer listings taken. 75% conversion rate from there means 11 buyers are actually going to be sold, times $250,000, which is the average sales price, equals $2,625,000 in buyer sold volume, times our 3% commission. It's going to be $78,650 gross revenue from buyers, which we get to add these two together now, gives us a gross revenue of $157,300 minus our total expenses of $57,300, puts $100,000 in your pocket. So we're talking about 38 total transactions. That's 20 plus 18, not transactions, appointments that you have to go on. Okay. And then if we look at actual transactions, you need 22. That's less than 2 a month in order for you to be able to hit $100,000 in net income based on a $250,000 price point. Okay. It's not overwhelming when you look at it like that. That's one every other week, essentially, that we're closing. This is why this paper right here is so important, because it breaks it down and allows us to see the reality of what it is that we really need to do. So now that we know we need to go on a total of 38 appointments to make that happen, and it could be more appointments for you, you're going to figure out what your conversion rate over time is. Your conversion rate could be 60% when you start off, but on average, it's about 75% for buyers and it's about 80% for sellers. The numbers can fluctuate a little bit, but if you just do this right here, you're going to set yourself up for massive success. So the number is 38 appointments. So once again, when we go back to what we talked about earlier, it's not just the number 38. It's 38 appointments so I can. 38 appointments so we can. 38 appointments so I can live this life. If we just put the number 38 on there, it's not as powerful as accompanying it with the why, the what makes it so powerful for us, the what does this do for our family. This right here is our starting point. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong button on my screen. This is the starting point. This is where we're able to start putting it all together. So I want you to take time this week to figure out what these numbers are for you. Print as many copies as you need. Go and get a copy of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Write the numbers on page 131 in a pencil, because then you can go back every single year and adjust it to make it look like what you really need it to look like for you. Okay, so let's go on to the next part. So here's what our weekly standard is for our business here. The weekly standard is 20 contacts every single day. 100 contacts for the week. Look, I realize we're in the 21st century, y'all. I don't expect you to pick up the phone and make all 20 of those contacts. And here's what I want you to start with this week. I want you to start with 5 of them being phone calls, okay? So that's you picking up the phone to your database and calling those people and just checking in with them, having a forward conversation, check in and see how things are going in the world. We all know that 2020 has been a crazy different year that we've never really expected. And I was watching a thing on TikTok that my son showed me the other day, and it said, 10 years from now, they're going to be going through the history book and they're going to go straight to 2021. And then the teachers are going to be asked, well, what happened in 2020? And the teacher's just going to be like, look, we ain't going there. We're not talking about it. We just skipped that year altogether. Well, you could skip that year altogether, but right now you have the greatest opportunity to make long-lasting relationships with people because they are so hungry for interaction with one another, because we've been told, hey, social distance, stay apart, stay apart, stay apart. And we're going to respect that. Yet at the same time, people are hungry for interaction. So you picking up the phone to just check in on people is really, really important. And have the Ford conversation. Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to pick up the phone and say, hey, how's your family? Hey, how is your occupation? Hey, what are you doing recreationally? And what are you dreaming about? That's not how it goes. It's, hey, I saw on Facebook the other day that you and your son went fishing. How was it? Did you catch anything? By the way, how's work going for you? And then you let them talk about work. And, the reason why this conversation works so well is because normally when you ask them about work, they're going to ask you about work. And then, have you guys gone on any trips or anything recently? Recreation. That's where you're going to learn about that. And do you have anything upcoming with your family? There's the dreams. It's a really, really natural conversation that normally turns into them asking you the exact same question that you just asked them. So 20 contacts per day, a total of 100 for the week. I want you to start with at least 5 of those every single day being phone calls, just checking in with people and seeing how they're doing. Now, the other 15, they could be Facebook messages. They could be Instagram messages. If you want to use Snapchat, if you want to use TikTok, I don't care what you use. Just make connections with people. And when I say contacts, it's a two-way conversation. So it can be just real quick through text message, checking in with people, and really updating what's going on in their life with you and your database real quick. It's really, really easy to be able to keep track of that. If you use a Google spreadsheet, I don't care what it is, use something. And then here's the other thing. 3 new contacts added to your database per day. So these are people that you don't have a relationship with yet. And I want you to add 3 of those every single day. That's 15 every single week. And here's why this number is important. Because if you work 48 weeks a year, I want you to be able to take a month every single year off for vacation. If you want to take that all at once, awesome. If you want to take it over the course of the year, that's fine too. But if you add 3 new contacts to your database every single day, so a total of 15 a week, 48 weeks a year, that's 720 people you've added to your database. And let's just say that you get a 2% return on your database for those new people that you've added to your database. That's 18 closed transactions right there. We just went through the math and figured out that you would need 22 closed transactions. So if you add 3 new people to your database every single day, and you got a 2% return on that, meaning 18 closed transactions, you'd only have to make up a gap of 4 transactions with the people that you already know. And when I say people that you already know, if you don't have a well-organized or well-established database, you've got one right here. All those people who are already in your phone, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. Why not reach out to them? And then with accountability, we do have accountability. So here's what our accountability looks like. I'm going to share my screen with you again one more time. You can go to, and we want you to do this by next Monday next Tuesday evening. Go to scotttolar.com/100club, or you can click the link in our Facebook page. I'm going to put the Google spreadsheet there as well. And we want you to put in your numbers for the week. Look, this isn't about just looking good and being right. This is about being honest and getting real. If you're not making the contacts, we're not going to judge you for that. We're going to help you. This is where we want to step in and say, okay, here's what's going on with your business. You only made 60 contacts last week. How can we help you to create a plan so that you're able to do it in a way that fits you best? You see, door knocking is probably not the best option right now because, you know, a lot of people might be upset about that, but there's other options that we can use to help you get to where you need to be as far as contacts. So let me share with you what the Google spreadsheet is going to look like. It's actually not a spreadsheet. It's just a Google form. Let me share that with you so that you see exactly what it looks like. All right. All right, so here's what the form looks like. It just says the 100 Club accountability. You're going to put your first and last name. You're going to put your email address on there. You're going to put the amount of contacts that you made for the week. You're going to put the new contacts added for the week. So right here, we want that number to be 100. If you're not at 100 yet, that's okay. Just be honest with us and let us know where you're at so that we can coach you in the right direction to help get you to 100. And then new contacts added to your database. This is that 3 a day. We want to see this number be 15 here. And we'll help you with other ways on how you can continue to find new people to add to your database. This week, I want you to get creative. I want you to think outside of the box, and I want you to find ways on your own that you can add those people to your database that you've never met before and that you want to be in relationship with. And then finally, just your market center name. That's all that we need you to put on there. So that's where we're going to start for today. I trust that this has been valuable. And if anyone has any questions, go ahead and unmute yourself or drop them in the chat box real quick and let us know.
Hey, Scott, I'm not sure if Alexander can unmute himself, but he said his mind exploded and he only needed 22. So do you want to share that aha really quick?
Alexander?
Yeah, sure. Hi, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Like, I mean, the 100 grand number is a big number for a person who's been a ski bum most of his life. And when you do the math backwards, like, personally, I like the number 36. So I was like, I want to go for that. And then when you break down the math, like, I'm not trying to say just 22, like, I need that as my bare minimum. I didn't realize how, lack of a better term, easy it is to get such a crazy, uneasy number because of like a limiting belief. So yeah, I'm just like.
Yeah, you see, Alexander, most of the time people in our business, the number one thing that I've heard, I was a team leader for 5 years before I became an OP of a couple of market centers. And the number one thing that I heard from people when they said they wanted to get into business, I asked them why. They said, I want to make $100,000. Okay, if we just put $100,000 out there, that seems really big, right? But when we break it down like this, all of a sudden, $100,000 just turned into 22, which turned into like 2 a month, which turned into 1 every other week.
Yeah, like I thought to make 100 grand, you'd have to be like some psycho 7-day a week, don't see your family mega agent. And like 2 a month, that to me is like, I'm bored, let's do something on the side job income. So like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Good. Can I repeat the Ford conversation? Yes. Family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And I'll put actually here, let's just go through it again really quick. So I saw on Facebook the other day, and before you call your people, we have the greatest resource that has ever been created in the history of mankind for helping us with our business. People share their entire lives on Facebook. If you're looking for a reason to call them, look at their Facebook feed and then just call them and ask them questions about something that they posted recently. Maybe it's a restaurant they went to. Hey, I saw you and your wife went out to dinner for your anniversary. How was it? By the way, how long have you guys been married now? And then go into, so tell me what's new with work. Have you been able to make it through this whole COVID thing? What's changed with work? You guys, have you guys gone on any new trips or anything like that recently? And do you have anything upcoming that you're excited about? Right there, just those questions alone, FORD, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. And there's some resources out there online if you just want to go and search for them. Search in the Ford method of communication. There's tons of additional questions that you can find by just doing a quick Google search. Okay, anyone else? Someone asked where to get a list of clients to call. Here's what I want you to start with. Open your cell phone, go to contacts, and start there. By the way, if you scroll all the way down to the very bottom of your contacts, it's going to tell you how many people you have in there. So for me right here on my cell phone, just alone, I have 920 contacts. Ideally, that number in your phone matches exactly what's in your database. Because like I said, these are people that know you, they like you, and they trust you. They're in your phone for a reason, because you have a relationship with them in some way, shape, or form. So just reach out and check in.
Tracy said, done that. Do it again.
Okay. Yeah, do it again. Or there's also ways that you can join networking groups on Facebook. And don't make this difficult on yourself. Find something that you love and build your real estate business around it. So for me, I love singing. I was in a choir here in Central Texas for quite some time, and I actually got to build my real estate business around something that I loved doing. So I made relationships with the people that were in that choir with me. I was able to build relationships with people after the concerts, and I added a ton of people into my database and sold a lot of homes simply from doing something that I loved. So find something that you love doing, and get to know people in that group who you enjoy being around, and build your business through them. That would be the best piece of advice that I could give you for adding additional people to your database is find something you love and build your business around it. All right.
Hey, Scott, can I add something to that?
Please, Terrell.
So, hey guys, I'm Terrell Patton. I'm a team leader here in Georgia, and Scott is my MAPS coach, my leadership coach. And a lot of my agents are on here as well. So what I've found also, Tracy, along those lines is I see a lot of people that say that, hey, I've exhausted my Facebook friends, I've exhausted my family, everyone in my phone, and I don't have business yet. Well, this is a process. It's a process that works. So if we're adding 3 new people, we may not get a contract that week or that month or that 90 days, but if you trust the process, then that 5th month, you could have 6 pieces of business. And remember, and the reason why Scott went to the why and went to that 22 number is, remember, we only need 22. So if we go 3 months and then we have 4 closings, guess what? We're pretty much almost back on track. And now we have the pipeline that's going to get us there. So what I see with a lot of agents who go on a quest like this or who are new, they don't trust the process and they want it so fast. And you don't have to have that. We only need 22. So exactly. That's my 2 cents on that.
Perfect. I love it, Terrell. Well, if nobody else has any other questions, I will post some of the additional resources in our Facebook page. And yeah, Erica made a really, really good point. What we do today shows up in 60 to 90 days. Trust the process, time on task over time. The results will absolutely show up. So you're right. It's not going to happen this week. It's not going to happen this month. You follow this process and you keep it going over the next 90 days, you're going to see some incredible things happen in your life and in your business. With that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you again next Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. and every Wednesday morning from here on out through the end of next August. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.